June 16th, 2015. Maybe the 15th. You give me a weird look like it was the 15th.
Pretty sure it was the 15th.
But you know what? They were all different time zones. That's when we released episodes 1.
It's different time zones, not datelines.
Don't worry about it. It was the 16th. We released episodes 1, 2, and 3 of the Glass Cannon podcast.
That's
and
right.
Now,
that's right.
How many years? That's what, 5 years ago? What year is it now?
5 years ago.
Who's the president?
Almost 5.
Almost 5.
Almost 5. Right. The way you were saying it, I was thinking it was June 16th, and it was the 5-year anniversary or something.
That would have been cool, but it didn't work out like that. We should have done a live one on the 16th. I would have loved to have more time to prepare, but...
We should do another one on the 16th.
No, shut up.
No.
No, we're never doing this again.
Think we should commit to it right now?
No, that's not true. This is going to be a wild night. But can you imagine? Can you think how this started in your apartment? We did it. We had how many equipment upgrades have we had since that first episode?
Well, I guess only really 3.
We've had 4
That's
in the
not
past
true.
week.
I was going to say,
That's true.
every time I pull up the books, I see a new equipment upgrade.
Well, by equipment upgrade, I, of course, mean like across the board, a lot of different things.
Right.
We've updated the mixing board, but we've bought the same brand and the same model, but just the one that wasn't broken. That's not an upgrade.
A non-broken one is always a good way
I guess
to
in
go.
a way, it's an upgrade from a
Tips
broken one.
for all you podcasters out there.
Yeah.
Go with the mixing board that's not broken.
That's a tip we really don't throw out there enough. You want a non-broken mixing board.
Right. A mixing board that has all its channels working.
A lot of people write in asking for that kind of advice, and I always neglect to even mention it.
We need to put that on the to-do list of things we send out. But, I mean, this is pretty crazy to think how far we've come. And
It
now
is.
we're doing this show live. Grant, how do you feel about that?
I feel like this is one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my life.
Yeah, no, it feels like a
It
mistake.
feels awful. I hope everyone out there is enjoying it because inside my belly, I feel nervous and sad.
Mostly sad, right?
Mostly sad.
Mostly sad.
Yeah.
It's a lot more, not fun, but it's just different to not have the cameras on. But we do this all the time now, especially with Androids and Aliens being live. Like, this is just a part of what we do. But there's something about this show. It's different.
Yeah, to me, it's not about the lights and the cameras and all that kind of stuff. It's about this story and the characters having working without a net.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And granted, it's not like we've cut out a bunch of characters dying in the past or anything like that, but it is
Only that one time.
Only that one time, which we won't mention. But no, it is very nerve-wracking too. When we first went out for the live tour with Strange Aeons, it was there would be stakes, but it was all new characters, and we always knew they were on the line. And tonight it's just different. I mean, everything is very raw. We've never gone this raw with our flagship show.
No, especially with our milestone eps. This is something we build this as, 100, 200, 250. It's going to have a different feel from our normal episodes. And so that's added pressure. And I don't know, at least for me, I just feel very precious about this show. It's we put a lot of work into all of our shows, but this is something we've been working on for 5 years. We've never missed a week with this show. And so
and none of us have ever missed an episode.
Never missed an episode on any of our shows, for that matter, except the shows that are designed for characters to switch in and out. I don't know. We're also late in the game. It's not like a level 1 combat. There's a lot of crazy stuff that could happen, and I plan on it happening.
Oh, dear.
But, I'm excited to see what happens. This is obviously a big move forward for us, and if it goes well, we can all retire young. That would be...
Yep.
That would be great.
Tonight will be the launch pad to retiring young.
Everyone but me.
You'd just be retired.
You just be
I'll
retired.
just be retired.
The rare self-zing on the Glass Cannon podcast.
It's going to start with the
Normally, there's
self-sing.
no room for the self-sing.
I know.
Because Troy just zings you all day long.
Sorry, I'm a little I don't get nervous or anything like that, but I feel not performance nervous, but I feel fucking jazzed up and amped. There's just so much information here, and we've had a crazy couple of weeks with Glass Cannon Live Boston last week, Androids and Aliens 100 this past Monday, and now it just never stops. But this has been the craziest stretch we've had since we started the network.
Yeah.
And so, there's really no time like the present to just fucking close our eyes and jump in.
Yeah. Let's do it. This is the end of our Hell Week. This is it.
Yeah, until the next Hell Week.
There will be more Hell Weeks, but
Yeah.
this is the end, and I'm excited for tonight. I'm so excited to play tonight.
I'm excited because I think this is the kind of episode, and this is just the type of show that I've been trying to build with this, that rewards people that really listen.
Oh, yeah.
I want someone to be able to have never listened to this and enjoy it because we're having a good time. But I want the people that have listened and re-listened or just analyze everything to have payoff with episodes like this.
Yeah.
So you don't want to reward anyone sitting at this table currently? 'Cause
Correct.
No one has closely listened.
Right. No.
Okay.
Only Joe and I have listened to every other 4 episodes. when
I
we had
listen
it.
back. Well, not regularly, but like when it comes to story moments that I want to see come to fruition and stuff, I'll listen back. It's shocking how different the audio is in the pre-100 episodes.
Right.
Yeah. Not bad, just different. Especially Troy sounds far away, and
I had the body mic because
Yeah.
we're using the map and shit.
You couldn't be inhibited. You didn't want your emotion to be inhibited.
I know. I wanted to explore the space
right.
from time to
And
time.
explore you did.
I used to be able to see,
Yeah.
and now that's how long we.
Wait, so you used to be able to see, and then you lost the ability to see, and now you've regained the ability to
Now
see?
I've regained. I'm like a super. I've leveled up. I've leveled up. It took me 5 years.
You got some negative levels
Right. I got some negative levels
from the age effects.
Right.
And,
No,
then, and then you've leveled up.
I found the magic goggles of seeing.
You're right, though. It is getting kind of out of control how much story there is
Yeah.
now at 250 episodes. Like, as I think back, the amount of characters and the amount of storylines that are going every which way and plot arcs and everything, it's unlike any campaign I've ever played before by a long shot.
Right, and we've had some great campaigns before we started this show.
Yeah.
Like stories that were our favorite campaigns in the time. But I don't know, it just feels special. It also feels special for us because everything that this company is built on started with this one show. And so, my goal is to make you and the audience cry at some point tonight. But I think I'm going to catch myself if I don't start this up pretty soon. Because if you really think about it, this is fucking crazy that we're here and that we get to do this now for a living. It's wild. And so thank you, the people who watch us, and thank you, the people who listen. I hope that we continue to provide exciting entertainment and good stories for many years to come, until Matthew's inevitable early death at the tender age of 38.
Don't joke. I think about that constantly.
He does. He's always thinking about that. You shouldn't say that.
Said it this week.
I just want to get you on edge before we start.
Well, speaking of that, I have a bone to pick with you.
Ooh, I love picking bones.
Are you aware of the opportunity we missed by doing 250 live?
I knew it was going to be something shitty.
Do you understand how cool a number 251 is?
Not as cool as 250.
No, it's much cooler.
Here we go.
It's
Here we
high.
go.
I'll tell you.
I would cut this out.
Is it
the
Prime?
Podcast.
It is prime. Yeah! It's also a Sophie Germain prime.
What does that mean?
It's a Chen prime, an Eisenstein prime, a DePaulignac number.
I don't
and
want to know all of those.
it is a sum of 3 consecutive primes and the sum of 7 consecutive primes.
Can you just explain to me what one of those weird primes is? I don't want to hear every single one of them. What's a Sophie Preston
A Sophie
prime?
Germain prime?
Sophie Germain.
Matthew doesn't even know what they are. He
No, I had
just
to look
wanted
it
to bring up a list.
I'm not a number. I'm not a. I'm
You
not
went
a
to prom with
mathematician.
Sophie Germain. Let's give her a shout out.
It is
Cheap shout out, cheap plugs.
a prime number P is a Sophie Germain prime if 2P plus 1 is also prime.
Well, I'm sorry I asked. That was terrible.
So 501 is also prime.
Who cares?
Great. Well, maybe,
503
maybe
is
we'll
also
do
fine.
But I mean, I'm
501
serious.
live instead of 500.
Man, I know I'm not a mathematician, but who cares if 2 times x plus 1 is also prime?
I haven't done high level math in so long, and I was like, there aren't letters in math. 2P? Get out of here with that. Next, you're going to tell me there's an X and a Y.
Bet you there's a bunch of math nerds listening like, yeah, tell me about the Sophie Germain prime. Yeah.
I've been waiting for this for 250 episodes.
I'm going to pause the video. I can't believe he said the Sophie Germain prime.
Well,
Well,
that would have been nice if you had been able to think about, beyond even numbers.
nope, not going to do it. I'm going to shit on anything you come up with.
If you at least been able to think of poor Sophie Germain.
Poor Sophie Germain, who died at the tender age of 38, not unlike Matthew.
Jeez.
Let's jump in.
Sophie Germain. Oh, she died at the age of 55.
Oh, my favorite number.
That's right.
Because it's when she died.
Stop stalling, Valley.
We're doing this. We're going to go in. I'd love to just
it.
talk about numbers, but there's a lot of story to tell, and I'd like to get home before the sun comes up. Here we go. We're going to start with darkness.
You want me to like turn the lights off or something?
No, just wanted to make sure you checked your email.
He's literally
I
checking his
actually
email.
My watch buzzed. To be fair, I was checking it when he did the extremely dramatic sound.
I sent you something before we went live. Darkness. And in that darkness, a voice rises out of the colorless void. It says, "What do you see today, my daughter?" Oh, yeah. We back away from the void to reveal an adolescent Feyraza Al-Said staring into a mirror. Behind her, her father and namesake, Farzadir Al-Said, stands watching, training her in the art of walking through time.
I see a castle in the clouds. It's beautiful. All I hear is voices crying out in pain. There is a battle. They're killing each other. It's horrible.
She pulls away from the mirror, overwhelmed by the sight of so much death.
I do not know what it means.
Her father nods. Simple scrying is something anyone can do with time and study. It allows you to primarily observe the present, the now, to learn superficial facts. What we do, my daughter, is different. The power that I was given when I was brought into this circle is the power that has been passed on to you. And if you have children one day, it will be passed on to them as well. We see all of time. We feel its pain, its joy, its loss, and its triumph. We watch, we learn, and we prepare.
How can I see more clearly?
For so long, I have taught you to only watch. But someday I will no longer be here. And while others of our order will attempt to finish what I have begun, only I can pass on the rest of this power to you. Long ago, my child, I was the answer to a prophecy. If the rest of the prophecies are to come true, then you must learn this gift before I soar upon the wind. Feyraza looks at her father with a deep, intense sadness in her eyes. Look into the glass. Look, but close your eyes and listen to my voice. See what comes to you, seen with not only your eyes, but with your mind's eye. See it so deeply that you are there. And his voice just trails off, and Feyraza's pupils disappear and then reopen again. But now she's no longer staring into a mirror. She's standing in a desert. And it's a desert you recognize. But all of the buildings that are normally there, the buildings that you grew up with, they're all in ruins around you, with the exception of one giant pyramid that has always towered over your circle. And in the shadow of the pyramid is a small tent. There's a fire pit outside that is still smoking like someone put it out recently. Slowly you walk towards the tent when suddenly the sand around you begins to stir. We go from that scene to now seeing a modest manor house. There is a garden to the left. The smell of peonies wafts through the air as a handful of townspeople walk by, pulling beasts of burden along. Into this serene scene walk Adriel Ashpeak and Sir Willamette Keswick. You can see from Sir Will's eyes that he either recognizes the place or at least knows the place from stories. We see the word Bronstone etched over the entryway into the manor house. Sir Will takes a deep breath and knocks. After a moment, a man answers, eyes you, Sir Will, sees the Keswick crest emblazoned on your shield. Doesn't say a word.
I've come armed for combat.
Roll for initiative.
Sir Will's just like, good day, sir. I am sorry to disturb you. I do not wish to appear without first announcing myself, but I'm afraid it was a bit of a rush. I am Sir Willamette Keswick of Highbury. I seek Sophia Keswick. I know this was her home, and I don't know if you've heard word of her whereabouts.
The mention of your name, his eyes start welling up with tears, and when you finish, he just like falls into an embrace with you and looks over your shoulder and sees Adriel. Is he a friend to us?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Forgive my manners. This is my traveling companion and friend, Adriel Ashpeak.
He looks like to the left and the right, make sure you weren't followed or if there's anyone else around. It's like, come, Will, and come, Adriel. She has been waiting for you.
She is here.
Come, quickly.
He looks at Adriel like eyes wide for a second and then turns and runs into the place.
So he escorts the both of you into the house, down a hallway, and upstairs to a single door. And he just looks at the door, still tears in his eyes, and nods at you.
Your name, sir. What is it?
Ben.
Ben.
Ben Seaver. Yes. We were singing the Growing Pains theme earlier. And so it was on my mind.
He's telling the truth, sir. I have seen it in the flame.
I've seen it in the flesh.
Adriel casts Zone of Truth. But I spell it differently. It's S followed by 17 E's, a V, and just an R. Oddly, there is no 18th E between the V and the R.
Ran out of ease.
But I must
That
go.
would be ridiculous.
Be absurd.
Be absurd in this fantasy world.
Mr. Siva, I thank you for your hospitality.
Your pronunciation is impeccable. Sometimes people really overdo it with those 17 E's. But no,
They
you're
don't. They don't know that the 10th through 12th are silent.
mostly silent. You truly are a Keswick.
So many silent
Truly are a Keswick.
I'll see you later.
Bye, Ben.
And he just leaves you in front of this door.
So Will's going to reach down, grab the doorknob, open the door.
Not gonna check for traps.
He's good on that.
Flame strike trap. You open the door, and I mean, you can picture this scene. You open the door, and there is a figure standing at the window with her back to you, looking out. and she's backlit. But you know this is your mother. As the door opens, she's like slow motion, turns and sees you and just rushes at you. Embraces, tears.
Mother!
Willamette, you're alive.
Drops the shield.
You're alive. Pick up your shield like your father always said. No. She's just weeping, embracing her. You weeping?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's overcome with emotion. He had so much doubt. I would even say certainty that she couldn't have made it. And Adriel insisted that she could and that she had. And he just didn't believe it. So, yeah, he's just like overcome with emotion.
He's like, in my heart, I knew you lived, but to see you here in the flesh, how did you know to find me here?
How did you? How? He composes himself, stands back, stands straight. How did you escape? How?
She looks at Adriel. And who is this?
I'm sorry, I've forgotten again. This is my traveling companion and friend, Adriel Ashpeak.
Well met.
Well met, my lady. I'm an analyst of sorts. I specialize in long-term forecasting.
He was convinced, Mother, that you had survived, that you had escaped the attack on Highbury. I was there, Mother. It was horrible. It was horrible. It is... I don't know if you've heard, but there's nothing left. Has anyone contacted you? Has anyone else survived?
No, Will, no. There's no one left. Please, come in and sit. Oh, there's so much to tell you, Will. I do not know even where to begin. But you asked on how I escaped. I don't know if you would remember this. You were gone with the Knights of Ozum, and then with your other charges. But oftentimes when your father was at war in the World Wound, I would walk the courtyard at night, worrying of his return. It became a meditation for me when I felt that all was lost. And one night I was taking one of those such walks. The moon was out, but it was still dark, and I stopped to admire the ivy growing up the tower walls when a figure appeared, as if out of thin air, in my periphery. I tried to scream for the guards, a natural reaction, but no words came out. The man, as I could tell from his voice, assured me that I was in no danger from him at least. Then he spoke some more. The first thing I remember is that his voice sounded so familiar to me. Even now I can't quite place it, and I could not see his face. But he began to speak of your brother, Bartholomew, and told me that he was planning on murdering every man, woman, and child in Highbury and raising them as his own undead army. If I wasn't so fearful of this stranger and what he said, I would have laughed. This was my son, I said. He had problems like any young boy, but we sent him off to school, to study, to be cured, and he returned a pious man. Or so I thought. I would not believe this shrouded stranger. Why? I asked him, why would you tell me such falsehoods, such untruths? I demanded, who was he? I asked. All he said is that he was a friend of yours, Willamette. And then he showed me things. My son showed me visions of your brother, Bartholomew, copulating with an undead abomination. He showed me my husband, your father, dying in the World Wound. And he told me that soon Bartholomew would have me killed as well and raised for some nefarious purpose. I demanded proof. Proof that this wasn't all some lie or sorcerer's trick. So he brought me into the castle, to a room where your brother Benric was. And he showed me what Bartholomew did to my son. And she just starts crying.
You saw him then?
I did.
I had feared you had left before he was killed. I know it sounds awful, Mother, but it comforts me to know that you left after he had died. That you didn't leave him behind. I had thought the worst. I had thought he had been left alone, and you know he could not fend for himself. He tried so hard for so long. The fact that he was alive at all was a testament to his strength. But in the end, could not stand up to that kind of evil.
How many doctors, how many wizards did we bring over the years to try and cure him? To no avail. And to see what Bartholomew could do to his own flesh and blood, to his brother. I knew he would do the same to me, that this stranger was telling the truth. When most of Highbury fell in line with Bartholomew, there was some who stayed loyal to me, quietly, wary of the sudden changes Bartholomew was making, unaware of what he was really doing. One such person was a Highbury guard, a paladin of Iomade, who I knew I could trust. She gave me her uniform, and along with another guard, I was ferreted away here to Bronstone. That woman surely perished, but she saved me.
Will starts to get tears in his eyes. Such incredible bravery. The Knights of Iomade. They tried so valiantly, Mother, the Knights of Ozum. They fought so hard against the tumbling wave of undead, but there was nothing they could do. I was lucky to have found such powerful companions in Metra and Silvermane. Adriel was there as well. He saw it himself. They ferreted me away. And now we are both alive to tell the tale, which gives me hope. I don't know, I feel that I've been lacking faith for so long, Mother. But seeing you changes things.
I too have struggled with faith as of late. This man who came to me, everything in my heart told me he was evil. He told me that in order to save myself and you, I should flee, and that you would find me here eventually. Everything that this man has said would happen has happened.
Will's eyes widen. He said I would meet you here.
Yes.
Mother, I beg you to remember many, many years ago. You say the voice is familiar.
Yes.
Think back. Think back to Dr. Forsyth.
Forsyth.
A principal, he said, who had come to take me to a school for gifted halflings or some such.
Yes, he ended up not taking you. What does he have to
Was
do
that the
with all
voice?
this? It was so long ago, but perhaps it was.
Mother, he leans forward, grabs her hands. Mother, I have found that Dr. Forsyth is an impostor of the most horrible kind. He has infiltrated our family. He has orchestrated the lives of many of my friends and allies towards some hideous end. What that end is, I know not, though I do know what his mission is. It is eternal life, no matter what form it takes. He was among us, a devil in disguise, a demon hidden among us. I did not know until I reached the Cathedral of Minderhall. Took me a second. The Cathedral of Minderhall. He spoke to me and I recognized him. It was chilling, Mother. My blood ran cold. You must. No, you must. I'm sorry. If this was the voice, it is very important that we know. We all could be in a great deal of danger.
Perhaps it was.
He knew of Bartholomew's plan, Mother. He orchestrated the fall of Highbury.
This man who saved me, but why? Why would he do this? He came to me in a dream, not long after I left. At the time I thought it was a dream, but yet it felt so real. It felt as if he was there with me. And when I woke up, it was as if things had changed. He told me how special you are, Will, and how he had been watching over you his whole life, grooming you from afar to help you unlock your true potential. Perhaps this was the doctor's plan all along. I don't know, but he said that you and your friends, the friends you speak of, this Adriel and Metra,
And Silvermane.
and Silvermane, are the only hope for saving the world. What am I to believe? He saved my life. Perhaps he somehow saved yours, but every time I look to Shaylin for answers, she tells me this man is pure evil.
He did, Mother. He saved my life. He had the chance to kill me, and he chose not to. He has some grand plan, some web he is weaving. I don't know what it is, but I do know that he is evil. He serves only his own ends. And if it is I that am to become a savior of the world, and that is what is to become of my friends, then I assure you he only wills it because it serves his ends. I can't see it either. I've prayed for guidance, but I've gotten nowhere. Adriel has been of some help in guiding me, thinking about things in a different way.
Thank you for counseling my son.
It is my pleasure, my lady. It pleases me to see Sir Will finally hear what he needed to hear from you.
Every night I pray to Shaylin for answers, to know what the truth is, and every night I see the same thing, Willamette. And Adriel, perhaps you can shed light on this as well. I see the swaying walls of a hanging monastery. Seknavali, a Thessalonian relic constructed by the rune lord of sloth, as my wet nurse would tell us when I was a child. What goes on there to this day, no one knows. It was a story he would tell to frighten children, but it exists, this monastery. But the monastery itself is not important. It is but a waymarker, I believe, that Shaylin has shown me, because just east of there, in this dream, lies an abandoned temple. My visions tell me that you are to head there, deep within the foothills of the mine spins. But my child, I do not know if salvation lies there, or this devil in disguise. I put my faith in the eternal rose, but this is your quest now.
Mother, I thank you for your guidance. It seems that your dreams could light our path. Adriel has been kind enough for quite so many days now to travel here with me and protect me through the bandit-strewn roads from here, between here and Trunau. You spoke often of a road ahead, Adriel, that we must seek. I thought that perhaps you already know it, but maybe this is it.
Perhaps.
Perhaps you need to meditate on it.
All I know of this moment is that the old evils have awoken again, and they cast a long shadow upon this earth. But the light that emanates from the last night of Highbury should be the key to break the darkness.
I have longed to see you again, my son. The thought of you leaving me at this moment, knowing the unknown, if we shall see each other again, pains me. May the rose and the light be with you always, my son. You are the last knight of Highbury. You are the last Keswick for Highbury. For Highbury. Ben Seaver pops in.
Mother, I...
Sorry, I missed it.
Show me that smile again.
Mother, it pains me as well to leave you. You know that if I could stay, I would. It gives me great joy to see you here alive. However, I have sworn an oath, not only to Highbury, but to the Knights of Ozum, and by extension, to those they send me to protect, Trunau, and I am under the charge of Sheriff Ashpeak, who sent me to see you. It has been a long road, but I must find my way back. This at least gives me a direction to begin. I don't know, I feel quite invigorated. There is so much evil and hatred in the world. We stand now at the precipice of two horrible evils, two armies, an army of giants, an army of undead. Thank the goddess they have not joined forces yet, but I don't know how to fight them myself. We must gather people, we must find a way to fight back, but I've never felt more faithful that it could happen than I do now. There is, of course, Branda, and his expression darkens, looking at Adriel, who we shall have to try to understand. But in the meantime, you've never led me astray, Mother, and I feel that I must do my part, such as it is. And I know now that this chapel is something I must seek, and that Iomade leads my way, along with Adriel and his dragonkin. Which is like painful for Will to say. It's like coming around on this.
Well, doesn't she also remember like scooping you out of the ashes as well?
That's not 100%, but yeah.
Okay.
She knows that his family was killed by dragons.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so like even that to her is like weird for you to say
it would be weird. So like he was hesitant for a second, but he's like, everything you've said so far has come true, and this is, you were his rock the whole way here that his mother was still alive. So he has to give you a little faith now. And it's just that general, like, his faith is so shaken, and to have anything start to, like, of course, Adriel, you could have just gotten lucky. But I choose not to believe that. I choose to believe there is something greater going on here.
There is one more thing. You will need some help on the way. An old friend of yours came here as if he knew that you would one day return. She calls to Ben Seaver. Vibrate? And
Those are the only words he speaks now.
That's how he answers summons. Oh, hi, Brie. T, yes, I'll be right back.
she nods to him. He goes back. Moments later, you hear padding on the floor as Lexington
Oh, no way, dude. Oh.
jumps on your face and licks you.
I thought you were going to say he jumps in your face and tears your throat.
Tears you limb for limb. He's gone feral, unfortunately.
He's undead.
And then Ben puts him down.
He's a worshiper of Urgathoa.
What a real turn there. Ben
Oh.
just jumps on you, licks your face, and from there we fade out.
Don't let anybody tell you you're an asshole, Troy. That was very nice. Thank you.
Lexington is back.
Lexington!
Wow.
Zap. Baron Ashpeak. Dalgrith Deathbringer. Metronarn and Nestor Coins appear in Trunau.
Oh, my God!
Right in the inner quarter.
Ah, so crazy.
You did the old Zapparoo there very recently.
I did.
Yeah.
Sometimes less than on purpose.
Yeah. It was a total accident.
Yeah.
But you're back. And not unlike your arrival here, you come into the inner quarter and there are people just like, oh, I'm late for work. What the fuck? Or people just teleported into our tiny little town. And it's not long before you're just immediately surrounded, and people, you hear like, it's the sheriff, it's Baron, it's that woman that appeared. You start hearing the rumbles and whatnot. How far we've come from the tug of war that started in this town.
Just incredible!
But the one constant, Baron Ashpeak.
So true.
Redheart.
Redheart at the
back in
time.
the day.
Nay.
Nay.
Nay, Redheart.
Nay. N-A-Y.
Nay.
Nay. Redheart.
I like that. I love that. I like that it works both ways.
When I was preparing for this today, I went back to try and find an early email chain we had going in like pre-production. And I think the day we recorded episode 1 was like the second time you and I ever were in a room together. Is
I
that
think
correct?
so, yeah.
You sat in on one of my Jade sessions, and that
It
was
was the third
second
or
time.
fourth.
I honestly don't.
Well,
know.
you were. There was one time you broke a chair at Skid's house. that
Were you there?
probably don't
No, I think
remember.
that happened after
That
we
was
started
after
the
we
podcast.
started. That
yeah.
was after we
This was
started.
the
Oh, it was?
second time I ever met you.
It was
when-
also, I think, the second chair you. No, I think that was the
How
first
much-
chair you broke.
I break a lot of chairs.
furniture of Skids have you broken?
More than I can count.
Who's counting, really?
Right.
This isn't a. We're not keeping score here.
No, when I pitched Grant to you for the pod, you had never met him. And I had played some.
Well, no, he guested in Jade Regent that one time, and I was like, what about that Grant guy? He seemed cool.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm telling you, episode 1 was the second time I ever met him, and so I went back and I found there was a lot of email going back and forth, and I found the email chain where this all began. You were originally thinking of doing a John Wayne type Ranger, as the way you wrote to me.
Really?
Yeah, that was his
Wow.
original thing. And then I screenshotted this email. I wrote to you. I was like, "Hey, Graham, we're getting close to I need to start doing some prep here. What are you thinking?" And you were like, "Not decided yet." ... Troy, are gunslingers allowed? Question mark. And
Wow.
I wrote. Actually, this was to reply all. I was like, 17 M's. Let me see. I've always loved the idea. What a dummy.
You were so young and
I was
stupid
so
back
stupid. I just need to see how they'd function since they seem so modern in comparison. I'll let you know, but my initial feeling is fuck yeah.
I remembered this.
then. I
email.
remember that email.
I remember this email too.
And then I said, let me read a little more and see if it would work. I didn't read anymore, and here we are.
And here we are.
It's amazing.
It's crazy.
It's amazing.
It's 5 episode 50s now.
Yeah, 550s.
And there's always something crazy that happens in each one. So, and we're back in Trunau?
We are back in Trunau.
Oh my God.
Truneasy.
It all comes rushing back. But I know you stopped keeping a calendar, but is this, we always talk about this and I always forget. Is it weeks, months since we've started this?
It's been months.
Months.
It's been months. I had a calendar for a while, but like every GM, I gave it up.
Yep.
I would say it is probably in the November, December range. I think you started in August.
Wow.
I'm kind of spitballing and bebop and
That's
scatting
fine.
here, but thinking of where I was with the calendar, I think The only thing that would screw me up is like when you did crafting that lasted. But you've pretty much been like, the thread is we got to move on. So I think
I'm going to guess we started in September. That's my guess.
you
I could be
did,
wrong.
but I moved it a little bit because I wanted an Iomade holiday to land for Sir Will. So
Oh,
I started
okay.
late August.
Because I remember when Sir Will got there, when we left Trunau together for the first time, that was like deep into fall.
Yeah.
Because I remember moving through the mountains and the leaves were falling.
Leaves
It was
are falling.
such
It's
an
beautiful.
image. I can still see it.
Yeah.
Heading to Nargum Steelhand's tomb.
Well, just again coming back and probably seeing more and more of the town being rebuilt and people living
Yeah.
their lives has got to make Baron feel very happy.
Yeah,
on some
there
level.
has to have been a lot of work done while we've been gone.
Oh yeah,
While
the
you've been
walls are all completely built back up. You know, it's different kinds of wood, so you can see like where it was destroyed. Looks like the ramparts are up, the towers are being rebuilt, and they've made it better than what it was before. So it's good that the city got sieged and everybody got killed.
Every once in a while, you got to hit the
You
restart.
got to hit the restart button. So you guys arrive there, and the crowd is starting to gather. And Nestor, roll a perception check.
Gonna be honest, I forgot Nestor was here.
I'm here.
For a second, I was like, "Oh man, this really is a throwback episode."
I thought you were going to say, I got to be
wait a minute.
honest.
I was like, it's
I
like-
forgot we rolled dice.
It's the sheriff and that weird lady who fell into the town, and oh yeah, that guy who murdered that person.
Hello. Remember me, the murderer?
The known criminal.
Multiple murderer. Yeah. That was a 33 for old Nestor.
33. While there's a lot happening here, you see that Metra is kind of giving an odd look to Baron, and Dalgrith is doing the same, and they're all kind of looking. They have like a shared thing happening that you're not a part of. And then you hear a click.
I've been waiting a long time for this, partner. You stole a man's life away from him before he was supposed to die. And you took a friend away from me. So tell me something. Are you ready to repent before you meet judgment?
No, wait one moment. Wait a moment. Can we discuss this like civilized people? We're going to have this gun to my head the entire time.
Oh, there'll be discussion. Don't worry about it, but I'm keeping this gun right at where it is. But I'm a lawman, not a judge. I already showed you how biased I was. I think you should be executed for what you did. And he grips the pistol as it's shaking by his head. But that ain't justice if it comes from my hand. If I killed you, I'd be no different than you. You killed a man out of spite and hate, and I can't do that.
All right. Calm down. Let's everybody be cool. Right?
I just want to say that Dogwraith isn't doing this.
That's just Joe.
I'm utterly shocked.
Listen, mate. If we want to have a trial, if you want to have this out, like I'm game.
Guards start coming in. Sheriff, is everything all right?
Hold one moment. I thought I could compromise my code and use you like a weapon. Use your killer's edge to slash through the giants. You can't squirm your way out of this one, Nestor. I thought one evil could end another, but I learned something else. You know what that is?
What? Don't leave me in suspense.
I learned you can use a man up to a point. You can even use the talents of a man you don't see eye to eye with. Work together. But you can't use a wild animal. A rabid dog can't guard your home. A rabid dog has to be put down because a rabid dog ain't no goddamn sense or got no morals. A dog like you can't be healed. A dog like you deserves to meet justice. Guard, seize this man. Take him to the Council of the Defenders.
What? Shit. You get a bottle cap.
Yeah,
Dude.
you do.
What was it? A rabid dog can't guard your home? That's a great line.
I looked over at Troy and I was like, it's a good point. It's a good line. It's a good point.
So yeah, the guards come in and just put you in fetters and manacles, and they haul you off to jail, where it all began. And we fade out of that scene,
Holy crap! Come on, man.
and we fade back up on the ivory hall. Back in the room with the Council of Defenders. At the head of the table his chief defender, Halgra of the Blackened Blades. I always forget the extra part of her moniker. So badass. One side of the table sits Counselor Agrit Stagenstar, the dwarf, married to Sarah Morninghawk. Next to her is Counselor and Banker Leslie Crumpkin, and then High Priestess Tyari Varvados. Both, of course, played by Catherine Zeta-Jones.
So stupid. Still.
Never not funny.
I love it every time. I love it every time.
It was High Fidelity Zeta and what's the
Entrapment.
Sean Connery. Entrapment. Zeta. Never not funny. That's why I sat them next to each other. I didn't even put them on opposite sides.
Well, and we have the third one now too.
Who's the third one?
Agrit Stagenstar. She's the.
Oh, she's
CGI Catherine
that's right.
Zeta-Jones.
I forgot about that.
They're all on one side. I didn't even mean to do that.
Do you think the older Catherine Zeta-Jones likes it when the younger one is asked if they're sisters by someone in public?
Oh, of course. How nice of you to say. On the other side of the table is Counselor Sarah Morninghawk from Clamor. Wasn't that the name of her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Or,
Clamor
Forge.
had to be rebuilt, right?
Had to be, dude.
It burned to the
burned
ground.
down.
all of it had to be rebuilt. Yeah, you
I remember Lork was like,
Gorms almost died in that episode.
"That's true.
true.
That was almost our first death,
Almost
and I
your
think
first
that
death.
was
It was only like it was
14. I want to say up 14 is my.
I was
guess.
only saved by the 20% mischance.
Oh,
That's right. And I rolled, it was like very close. I feel like it was like 23 or something ridiculous. Anyways, you survived. Next to her is Patrol Leader Jagrin Grath and the new counselor, Brynja Kelver. Remember, she was brought on to not replace Kesson Plum as the Master of Stores or whatever he was, but just to take his seat. On the opposite end of the table,
to add a more diverse panel.
right?
is
They're
the
trying to
idea.
be more progressive, so they're putting some hats
And it was whatchamacallit's
on the council.
Johnsky. It was Silvermane's suggestion.
Right, Silverman said you should put her on. They needed some youth, some youth, and also there had never been a half orc on the council before, and you know that the enmity between humans and even dwarves and half orcs has been going on in Trunau and all the holds of Belkzen for a long time.
I always forget this. So Halgra is human. She just has no problem having half orc lovers.
She has tons of half orc children, and they're running around the Ivory Hall as far as the eye can see.
Got it.
At the opposite end of the table is, of course, the master of maps and used cars, Tom Exposition.
Oh God. Oh
It's
God.
like, I
even
show up
think
in
of
every milestone app. And then noticeably absent is Silvermane. Normally he would be standing next to Halgra of the Blackened Blades, but he's not there. So long ago, he appeared and gave you a what was it? A
Lantern.
A lantern.
to go through the marsh?
Yes.
Can I just tell you, it was a very exciting moment at home. Gwen has gotten super into Disney's Brave. I don't know who has seen Brave because
I
it's
have.
not super
have.
popular. But will-o-wisps are a big thing in that.
that's
'cause it's
right.
a very like Celtic sort of
Really?
story. And Gwen, I'm just getting chills thinking about it because she says, "Daddy, you gotta come and see the wisps. See the wisps." She follows the wisps to the witch's cave.
And you're like, I know Wisp, and
She's running, yeah, she's like running through the wisps.
Daddy
and I
did
was
the
like,
same
Daddy
thing.
once got a lantern and had to find a wisp to put in it to find the standing stones.
Daddy-
And by the way, there's totally standing stones in this movie because it's
Scotland.
a total Scotland Celtish like story. And it was just awesome. I
Daddy
was like, this
also
is why.
fought a will-o-wisp.
Exactly.
his name was Moss Moon.
His name was Moss Moon. This is why this game is the greatest game on earth. It's just
it
the
truly
best.
is. And now that when we started the show, you didn't even have a kid.
Because I didn't say
Now you can share that story.
Lork got a lantern. I said I got a lantern. This is a memory of mine, you know?
She's gonna be so confused.
Yeah, but Silvermane isn't there. Everybody else is. There's a lot of people in here. Cursed isn't even in here. It's Jagrin is on the council, not Cursed. Halgra
Are we here?
speaks. Baron, Metra, and Dalgrith are here. Nestor is probably in the jail where he was first met by Baron and Lork so long ago. Halgra says, played by Melissa McCarthy, right? Sheriff Redheart, I wish we were seeing each other again under better circumstances. We will discuss the prisoner momentarily, but my men tell me you have dire tidings from the mine spins.
And Baron reaches to take off his hat that's not there, because he remembers taking it off the last time he was at a Council of the Defenders, and he says, Chief Defender Halgra, esteemed council members, Tom.
Yes,
Hey!
I'm here too. I contribute nothing.
And Baron, of course, introduces Dalgrith, his esteemed Strike Team Delta companion, as well as Metra.
And
They've seen Metra.
At the mention of Dalgrith's name, you see people being like, is that the Dalgrith Deathbringer?
You know what's funny? He's looking around. He's like, I've been here before. Oh, it was ages ago, but I recognized the town. I didn't know this was Trunau. This Ivory Hall is quite an interesting place. I've been a place just like this. This has to be the town. Years ago, I passed through with my mentor at the time. It's a long story. It's irrelevant now, but
Who was
it's
your
nice to
mentor?
meet y'all. I might have met some of you before. There was an older druid fellow, white hair, I remember. He's not here anymore, I guess, but he was there at the time.
Who was your mentor, Dalgrith?
He was my my mentor, Yorick.
Yorick?
Yes.
Blackbow. Yorick
Blackbow.
Black. You know, the famous Yorick Blackbow.
Halgra's-
I knew him. Horatio, I knew him.
I knew him well.
I knew him, yes.
I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes, at that
Mr.
time, you know, of course, I
Mr.
was...
Deathbringer, please, I appreciate your enthusiasm.
I'm just happy to be back. Good to see the town still standing here on the edge of the Holds of Bilkson.
Yes, yes. Welcome back, Tom, please.
Now it is time for me to share my report.
Yes, please.
Chief Defender Halgra. I will be direct with you now, for it is not the time for half measures. Half measures will mean the end of the world as we know it. The Storm Tyrant is the greatest threat to ever face the free people of Galarian. He is a massive giant, and he is assembling giants from every corner of charted territory. We believe him to be behind the attack on Trunau some months ago, of which we are all survivors. Forever may the dead rest. His followers were amassed at the ruins of... Not you guys. Not these two. I'm
Get
sorry,
him!
I'm having a moment with the Trunauians. His followers were amassed at the ruins of Red Lake Fort. Multitudes more trained giant warriors lay in Minderhall's Valley, and a brigade in Skiergard. Now, we routed them all, but today the Storm Tyrant has an entire army camped outside of Ash Peak Volcano. And if that weren't a grim enough reality for you, he somehow assembled dragons to his ranks. We've killed many there, but there are more where that came from. One whom took mercy upon me for some reason, but regardless, the Storm Tyrant rides the largest red dragon I've ever seen in my life. I watched with my own eyes.
Rhubarb.
Yeah, at
Watermelon,
the mention of
watermelon.
dragon, you see them all sort of look at each other, Halgra included, but they don't interrupt you.
I watched with my own eyes as the combined might of the dwarves of Kragadan fell to the fire and fury of his steed. His power is unprecedented and terrifying, but it is not absolute. He can be stopped, but it will take the cooperation of all small folk, a unified response from every nation that can be rallied. Together we will win, but we cannot tarry a moment. Chief Defender Halgra, esteemed council members, I humbly ask you to spare every man you can and send them out on a horse this very moment to a neighboring city to begin our defense in the war to end all wars.
She solemnly thinks on what you said. And then she really, she's addressing everyone, but you can tell she's just addressing you. And she's like, when Trunau was ransacked, I warned the neighboring strongholds that this wasn't an isolated attack. When you returned from Red Lake Fork. Fuck, I can't believe I
Did you really do that?
That's amazing.
You saw me.
If you really did that,
Fort.
or if you didn't,
I will
that
always.
was really well done.
Yeah. Okay. Red Lake Fort.
Fort.
When you return from Red Lake Fort, again I sent ravens to cities and villages shut up nearby
I still love. I mean, obviously now at 250 episodes, we've had so many great memes made and artwork from the Nation and everything. It's just great stuff. One of the first ones I ever remember getting is just
One
the
of the first
mountains,
memes, yeah.
the sea of red, and a fork just photoshopped sticking out of it.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Someone
and
gave us
so
a giant
funny.
fork. Somebody gave us a giant
Yeah,
fork.
we still have in our silverware drawer
We all got
Red Lake
individual
forks, like
Oh, that's
like
right.
carved into the fork.
I have one at home, and every once in a while when I'm doing the washing up, I'm like, what is this rough spatch on this fork? And it's like just a normal fork, but someone hammered in. I forgot who. I'm sorry right now if you're watching.
Yeah, I'm
but like
sorry.
it has Red Lake fork on it, and I just like cut my thumb on it once. It was great. And it was a red fork at that point.
Sorry, I was drinking. When you returned from Red Lake Fort, again I sent ravens to cities and villages nearby that a great storm was approaching. No one has fully prepared, Sheriff. I do not know what it will take, but I will do my best to let the holds of Belkson know that a war is coming to their doorstep, and they better be prepared.
I'm so fucking fired up. It's just a burst.
They are stubborn, and they are set in their ways. They think we were the only ones to suffer, that they'll be fine, that they're stronger than us, that they could not fall. We will do everything we can to warn them. Tom, gather up our best diplomats to head throughout the holds of Belkson.
Just
to-
legions of diplomats
Yes,
living
we
in
have-
Trunau.
We have people with very high charisma. Please send them throughout the holds of Belkson to relay this information. Should I go too? No, Tom, that would be terrible.
It's too valuable here.
Yes, you're far
Your
too valuable.
services are needed here.
Here, yes.
We also have documents outlining their battle plans
Yes.
and their organizational strategies.
If I could make photocopies of these,
Yes.
they will be very helpful for our...
Might as well
Many-
just scan them. It'd be easy, less paper.
Scan them an email.
Tom,
Scan 'em in email.
this is where Tom will come in handy. Tom, make copies of all of these documents, and we will give them to our many, many diplomats as we send them throughout the holds of Belkson to warn people of the coming storm.
Halgra, before they leave, you
Yes.
must send them with these. And Baron reaches into his bag of holding and pulls
Hands her
out,
3 guns.
leave the gun, take the cannoli. Or is it the other way around? He pulls out dragon scales for each of the riders. He's been keeping like one dragon scale from each of the dragons he's killed, and he's hoping that'll be a rare enough artifact to wake their asses up.
She takes the dragon scales and she holds them and she stares at them. These tidings of dragons are... And she can't even find the words. There have been reports of dragons flying through the night sky, even here in the holds of Belkson.
Whoa.
There have been no recorded attacks, as far as we know, and in fact, no one has even seen them. But even our night guards have heard them fly, have felt the breeze go by as they fly over at night, and we've heard the same rumors from neighboring towns.
Scouts, Dalgrith says, kind of loud. Sorry, Chief Defender, but probably scouts. Storm Tyrant's using them to scout the lands, and he intends to take over, make his plan of attack.
Yes, this is what we deduced as well. They are watching, biding their time, preparing. With this talk of dragons and these dragon scales, something must be done. Trunau is ready, but the rest, they are not.
Is there a Belkson area last wall? Is it last wall version of like a Helm's Deep? Is there like a place
fort
that
hole.
if the shit goes down,
Well, there's like
smaller?
a sky citadel, but I don't think it's in the holds of Belkson.
Need Urgir.
Yeah, I'm just curious if like the border settlements of humans have like a plan. You know, even if it was orcs getting out
You know,
of control.
Yanderhof is probably the closest.
Oh, but you got to trek over the
You're
mountains.
going to trek over the mountains and get killed by giants on the way.
Well,
but Yanderhof's all underground.
I mean, Helm's Deep is a trek too.
totally through the mountains.
Yeah.
And it's the same. What
And Dunharrow too, like same thing.
Do you
What's this-
suggest we leave our home? Leave Trunau to fall?
Homes can be rebuilt, crops resown. You have to save your lives. As you can see, even this orc attack, you rebuilt the walls in a matter of months, from what Baron tells me.
But if this is a coordinated effort across the entire continent, where will they hide? We must take our stand.
I understand what you're saying, Mitra. I just look at these walls and... never mind.
Perhaps we should bring the fight to them.
Aye. That sounds good to me. Your fortresses, your classic means of defense are not going to be much against these giants. We have to find another way to fight them. I think Mitra's right. We go on the offensive. Is there a means you have devised yet among any of you to bring these dragon scouts down? Perhaps a single large crossbow that could just shoot a dragon out of the sky with no fucking effort whatsoever.
No, that would be ridiculous.
It would be fucking absurd, I agree.
Unbelievable.
I'll withdraw.
Yes, no.
Maybe you could. It would only be ridiculous if you mounted them on ships that you could hide in the middle of the ocean.
It's stupid. It's an idea of a child. A child who does not understand.
We
Yes.
kid.
War.
We kid.
An enormous story cheat, if nothing else.
We don't kid. We don't kid. It's dumb. And it ruined everything.
Didn't ruin everything.
No, it was already ruined before
Ruin
then.
everything.
Right.
Just that story.
Yes. Didn't ruin
Like
I can still watch,
Denmark is fine.
I can still watch Charlie Brown Christmas.
Right.
And I
Brown
enjoy
It didn't
was
ruin
awesome.
everything, Matthew. Just
Yeah.
that story.
that show.
Arbor Day is still Arbor Day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
The things that weren't ruined.
Yeah.
Denmark.
Yeah, Denmark,
Arbor Day.
Andorra, Arbor Day, all fine.
And Charlie Brown Christmas.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
As for your prisoner, I have been brought up to speed. But would you explain to the council why he is in chains? We are the Council of Defenders. You know this. We are tasked with protecting Trunau from all enemies, both foreign and domestic.
Baron nods knowingly and respectfully at Chief Defender Halgra and says, kind of accusingly at the rest of them with his finger out, "You should know this man. I drug him out of your own jail. He killed a town guard, a colleague of the Grass. He killed him because of a minor disagreement over a dice game.
You see Jagrin just hang his head.
That alone is proof that he's a killer and he deserves punishment. But he's deviously recalcitrant, unrepentant. He killed again, not just the giants and other monsters we found on the way to Minderhall's Valley. He killed a good, innocent man in cold blood, a man who suffered on behalf of us in a fighting pit, mauled by bears, a descendant of a great hero. A man who sacrificed his own arm to inherit a steel hand with which to smite the giant's advance so you wouldn't have to. His name was Umlo Nargrimkin. Umlo was sleeping peacefully when he was slain. You see, Nestor's not just a murderer, he's a low-down, dirty coward. And he's twisted. I know he took pleasure from it. He corrupted Metra's daughter, Della, my deputy, and I let him out of captivity and into this world, and I'm partly responsible for his misdeeds, and I need your help setting the record straight before he kills again. One day he may kill one of you or some other poor soul that didn't deserve it. But he must stand trial for his crimes, and I'm a sheriff, not a judge. That's why I humbly beg your counsel to place this man on trial for murder.
There is much the people of Trunau must know. Tomorrow, we will tell them, and we will hold this trial for Mr. Coin in public, in front of the eyes of men, women, and the gods. There is evil in this world, and people must know what will be done about it. There, his fate shall be decided. And we fade out of that scene.
I can't handle it.
And we come up on Adriel and Sir Willigan.
Oh.
Sir Willigan, who's that?
Sir Willigan, yes.
So
So
Cheswick.
Here are Willigans.
Sir Willigan. There was an old man named Sir Willigan. You've been traveling for days now.
Oh.
Maybe over a week at this point. You know, time is relative in these sort of things. This isn't all chronological. Your meeting
Timey-wimey
with
really
Sophia
wobbly.
could be, weeks ago.
Is it daytime?
Yes, it is daytime. And you think maybe you're within a day of this Sek Navali that your mother spoke of. Will, what are you guys talking about? What is your conversation sort of revolved around? What are your fears, your hopes, your dreams?
I think Will is like, he's turned a corner. I think that he's probably pretty morose and melancholic like the whole way up there. And now, I mean, the return of Lexington is ridiculous. I'm still trying to like process that as a player. I'm like, that is insane that happened. So between that, Adriel's like saying that his mother was alive, finding his mother, finding out that like it's probably Brander's been messing with his mom too. It's like he's just getting them all fired up and recalibrated toward his faith and this desire to strike out at this enemy. So I think that he's, I don't know, he feels really happy and really excited and almost chipper in a way that, he used to be, that he hasn't been in a really long time. And so I think he's just like, it's a beautiful, I'm doing a Dogger's voice. It's a beautiful day.
He's not there.
I know. It's a beautiful day. Soothsayer. You.
Soothie McGillicuddy.
Soothie McGinn. Tell me one of your tales. No, he's very he's very chipper and
More like his old self.
exactly. Oh, the beauty of Shaylin's world, isn't it? Wonderful to behold. The singing of the birds. It's like music flowing through the air. Isn't that right, Lexington? He's just, patting him on the side, and then every once in a while turning to Adriel and just like, you were right. I shouldn't have doubted you. Well done.
Well, I hope that now you see the howling of the wolves in the Shudderwood was foreshadowing of what was to come.
Yes, at the time I didn't see it, you're right. But now, things look so much brighter.
Yes. Well, I'm actually a bit worried lately, Sir Will.
Why is that?
As we've camped along this journey, and you've slept. It's very cute watching you and Lexington sleep together, actually. You cuddle very adorably.
I haven't slept this well in a very long time.
I know. He seems to be both your companion and your pillow. It's a nice combination. I've been looking into the flames, Sir Will. And I've been troubled by what I've seen lately. Behind Great Ember Flame, I see an enormous castle in the clouds. It is an ill omen and terribly foreboding. It is a kingdom built upon bones, and its sewers run crimson with blood.
What is showing you this vision? Is it your... What do you call... your patron? Is that what you call it?
Keelpath.
Keelpath, yes. Is it... Keelpath, is your connection resuming in some way?
Oh, I am still cut off from Keelpath's might and wisdom. But I am still connected to the oracular network, and I feel a great deal of activity. I feel others reaching out and seeing the same thing.
A city in the clouds or a castle? What did you say?
A castle.
Castle in the clouds.
Great, monstrous castles, built not to show order and love and progress, but tyranny and hatred.
Well, surely it must be the giants. Is it not a giant castle?
It is difficult to tell. I can only see mitigated visions being cut off from Kilpass, but a kingdom that would build such a castle must be built upon the engine and the gears of war. I fear a great war to come. And when I think about it, I think it's the war to end all wars. And that war somehow involves this castle.
Yes, I agree. You haven't mentioned the castle before now, but you have been alluding to such a war. You say we will have a part in it, right?
Correct.
And we could not do it alone. It must be with the aid of Iomade, of Shaylin, of Kilpath. This war, I think, will need all of them behind us.
Consider it an early warning at this point, but I feel as if our path right now is exactly where we're intended to be.
Yes, you're one step ahead of me. That was my next question. Is this monastery, this mysterious vision my mother speaks of, does it align with these visions? Are we on the right path?
All roads may lead to the visions I see, but whether they are straight and well paved or meandering and underfoot is yet to be seen.
Well, you've done a wonderful job so far of leading us on the right path. Now I believe Iomade could take over. He looks up at the sky, looks back down. She will show us the way. You must have faith.
I do. Remember, Sir Will, before you learn the teachings of Iomade or Shaylin, you first experience the power of the gods and the love Sophia gave to you. And remember that hate does not conquer love. It is love that defeats hate. Never forget that.
He sort of his expression falls for a minute. Wise words, soothsayer. I feel I have fallen into that very trap before. But one can learn from one's mistakes, right? This is what they are for.
Well, I suppose now I shall have to learn a lesson from you and learn to smile on the rest of our journey until we see what this place is your mother pointed out to us.
Yes, of course. If we are to meet our end in the last great war, as this giant of the sky citadel comes to subjugate all of us and kill everyone we know, wouldn't it be better to meet it with a smile? It'd be better to enjoy the singing of the birds one last time before it happens.
I think so. Let's have a listen.
So I imagine as this conversation's going at a certain point, because I always think in terms of film terms, you guys are walking along and having this conversation, and then at a certain point, we just hear you, but we no longer see you walking. We see you later on approaching Seknavale, this vast stone temple complex built upon a thick metal platform suspended over a mile-deep chasm by 3 immense chains. And it looks like there used to be a 4th chain that either eroded over time or was broken. And so because of that, the wind just makes this monastery sway.
So freaking cool.
But that is not your focus. And so again, you're having this conversation as we're seeing you go east from there, as your mother said. And eventually you come to a stone building. Looks like it may have once been a temple.
I'm going to be honest. I thought this was an EP 300 thing. Actually getting to the temple.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
Just you wait. Maybe it was a temple. Can't quite tell. Now it looks like a place for runaways or bandits or a horrible nest of CR-22 creatures. You have no idea of knowing. You have no idea. As you approach, do you continue to approach?
Yes, but we will do so cautiously. I think Will he's happy, he's invigorated, but he's not too under cautious. I don't know what the word is, but he stops and, Adriel, reach out with your mind. With your mind, do you sense anything?
And Adriel just hits 2 pieces of flint on the side of his hands.
The whole forest catches fire.
Smoke there. Runs out in a flame suit. Ah! Yeah, I mean, detect magic will do all types of different ways of looking out that he has at his disposal.
Sure. You reach out, 60 feet all around you, feeling for magic, and there is magic emanating from this temple, or former temple.
Sir Will trot up on Lexington to within 60 feet.
Okay. Get within 60 feet, and it's so strange, this building, because it feels like it might have been a place that worshippers would have lined up and come from all the neighboring towns, and all the neighboring towns are gone. And yet this temple still stands.
Is it in ruins?
It's parts of it are. It's actually withstood the test of time better than you would have thought, as most churches do. But as you get close, something seems off with Lexington. He starts
Lexington? You all right, boy?
Starts sniffing in the air, and he growls. And when he growls, you hear a growl in response from somewhere in the brush, and it's this moment where you're all looking around trying to figure out where that other sound is coming from, and just then the ruined door of the temple opens, and out steps a young woman. Her skin has a greenish hue to it, but it's not dark green like an orc or even the two-tone hue of a half-orc. It's even lighter. She steps out and looks at you, hands up as a show of non-aggression. And then behind her steps a young man with what looks like a brand or a burned-in image on his chest of a butterfly.
Oh, yeah, dude!
What? Come on with this!
It's Galabras, motherfucker.
Baby! What? Oh, baby! I've heard of him.
I've heard of him. Oh. Galabras Finn walks out next to, you don't know, but Shael. And just stands there looking at you.
Going back through the campaign. Sir Will's never seen Galabras, right?
No. When you finally came to Trunau after you were rescued by the B team, he was already taken.
Right, but when I was first in Trunau, he was there, but he was
there, but you
a
would have been
vegetable.
like, hey, let's go
and
see
I was
that
down at
guy
the bar.
that
I
I've
didn't
never
know
met.
him.
Yeah.
I saw him while he was still comatose. And
That's right. You forgot that you had the means of saving him until later.
yeah, and the part of the reason why is because I thought it was plot based, so I never tried it. But yeah.
Well, either way, you
I
see
forgot
him
him as
now, and he is no longer feeble-minded. In fact, there is a very different aura about him.
Galabras, do you remember me?
You know this man?
I've seen him before in Trunau.
And the boy steps up, and he looks like the Galabras that you would have known, but there's something about his eyes that there's a serenity about him, but there's also some kind of great pain, even a deeper pain than you would have had when you did know him, if you had. And he says, a halfling and a wolf, a dwarf with the aura of dragons about him. No doubt there is a tale worth hearing behind it all, for such things are not often seen here.
And under his breath, Adria whispers, "So Will, this place, these 2 people, they've been hidden from my vision. There's something strange and special about this place and these people. I do not know good or ill."
Forgive me, good sirs, I ask only for our own protection as travelers on the road. May I detect evil How do you say that?
May I detect you?
Detect evil.
It's kind of like how now with the coronavirus going around, if someone sneezes, you
Yeah.
have the right to just
Exactly.
book it. So you should just be like,
Punch him in the face and then
Right.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The coronavirus
That's what
people
the-
or these people?
No, the coronavirus.
Oh, okay.
That's what the CDC.
Why would you touch their face?
That's what the CDC recommends.
Oh boy. Are you reading?
How dare you for sneezing? Psh, and then run.
I don't think that's it.
Are you reading
Google
the
it.
Crappy Disease Center's
Google it.
website?
Google it.
Okay.
There is no ill will or distrust here, I assure you. We just, it is a dark time. Forgive me.
There is no spell you may cast that would hurt me.
Nice. That's crazy. So we'll cast Detect Evil. Detects, obviously, that Shael is evil. Galabras is not. And charges at Shael. Now, so, once he detects they're not evil, he's like, we were sent here by a vision, and it seems we are greeted by friends. That is heartening indeed. Shall we speak inside, perhaps?
And Galabras looks to Shael.
We have been traveling together for some time, he and I, and our other companion, and Cat Benatar walks out of the woods. It is a long story, one which I could tell you when we are finished here, but we do not have time right now to catch you up on everything. There is a spirit within me that led me to Galabras, because this spirit believes him to be the chosen one.
A chosen one.
Yes, the one meant to save the world, as it were. This spirit both plagues and blesses me, but she, along with Galabras, have informed me that my work, our work, and she looks at all of you, is not yet done. Adriel, are you familiar with the concept of calling forth a planar ally?
Yes, I have seen this ability within the flames, but I have yet to exercise it myself. Why do you ask?
Galabras here has access to this magic that we seek, but we need you to help concentrate this powerful energy so that the ally is not some random denizen of the outer planes, but one specific person that can help us turn the tides in the great war that is to come.
Yes, I can gaze into the plains and ensure that this ally comes forward rather than a foe. It's strange, as I look at you now, I feel as if I'm looking at the friend of a friend.
Yes, as I said, we have much to discuss, but now we must prepare to call this ally.
And Galabras breaks his silence. Says, "Be merry, my friends. A great storm is coming, but the tide has turned. We go in search of our dear companion. We called her Gormley.
And we'll see you in part 2.
I just realized I had no audio reaction. I should have screamed.
Holy shit! Galabras! Gormley! Galabras! Gormley!
We'll be right back after this intermission. Stay tuned. You do not want to miss
Oh my
the second part of this episode.
All of the G characters.